my mom, who she had been put on antibiotics for the common cold, basically, and ended up staying on antibiotics for several months because this is just, in the 80s what doctors did. And I guess some doctors to this day still do that. So she ran her own business and didn't take the time, like just like a weekend just to relax, or a week just to like let her body recover. So she went to drug after, prescription after prescription to overcome an infection, and gave herself a wicked case of candida. She finally discovered a naturopathic doctor who actually did colon hydrotherapy in his
Hot
clinic.
dang.
Yep,
Yeah.
this is Dr. Diadamo, the original, not his son, but Dr. Diadamo back in the 80s had a clinic in Toronto, Canada, where I'm from. And my mom went to him, got some colon hydrotherapy, and also cleaned up her diet, and she started to get better. So she intuitively said, well, if it's good for me, it's probably good for my daughter. And I remember at 6 years old being in his clinic. I remember looking him in the face as he took a drop of my blood and figured out I was an O blood type, looked at my eyes for radiology, looked in my ear, examined my throat because I had that constant sore throat. And he looked at me and he said, you are allergic to milk, yeast, wheat, and sugar. Stay away from them.
Is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented here for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Where each week we bring you the health information to help you understand the simple healing secrets you can use to keep your body well, allowing you to live a healthy life so you enjoy every minute you are here on earth. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my body from multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, supplements, cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy, those experiences let us discover the recipe that became known as the 4 natural laws of healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox and cleanse the body, then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-day healing retreat. We've helped thousands of people get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. There is no reason for you to suffer from anything. Once you learn the 4 natural laws of healing and follow those, it has been my experience and belief that you can heal from anything. You can learn more about that at livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, the video, 4 natural laws of healing.
Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. And today, I have a very kindred spirit on the show today, Miss Ashley James. Miss Ashley James has a podcast of her own called Learn True Health. You've done what? Some over 516 plus episodes and growing. Does a fantastic job, so you can check that out. But she's an entrepreneur, podcaster, author, and we're having her on because she just wrote an amazing book called Addicted to Wellness. Ashley is a bit like me. You went through a lot of a health journey. There's a picture of it right there. A health journey, much like myself, and we had to figure out how to save our lives, and she did, and I did. So we're here teaching others. Amazing. And she's also a massage therapist, a Reiki master, trained in neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, hypnosis, nutritional coach. She went after it and grabbed all the different things to put them in her toolbox, her wellness toolbox, so she can help others, which is awesome. Ashley James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about everyone has their unique story from sickness to wellness, and you got one amazing story. So maybe give us a little bit of background, and we'll get into your book here a little bit.
It's like rags to riches to rags to riches. So when I was really young, I didn't know any better, and I thought this is just how life is, but I would always have a sore throat. I was always tired, and I'd wake up in the morning unable to open my eyes because my eyes were crusted over, and I'd have to peel away the crust in my eyes. They were sealed shut. I just remember being really tired and the constant sore throats. And that was my life until I was about 6 years old. And then my mom, who she had been put on antibiotics for the common cold, basically, and ended up staying on antibiotics for several months because this is just, in the 80s what doctors did. And I guess some doctors to this day still do that. So she ran her own business and didn't take the time, just like a weekend just to relax, or a week just to let her body recover. So she went to drug after, prescription after prescription to overcome an infection, and gave herself a wicked case of candida. She finally discovered a naturopathic doctor who actually did colon hydrotherapy in his clinic.
Dang.
Yep,
Yeah.
this is Dr. DeAdamo, the original, not his son, but Dr. DeAdamo back in the 80s had a clinic in Toronto, Canada, where I'm from. And my mom went to him, got some colon hydrotherapy, and also cleaned up her diet, and she started to get better. So she intuitively said, well, if it's good for me, it's probably good for my daughter. And I remember at 6 years old being in his clinic. I remember looking him in the face as he took a drop of my blood and figured out I was an O blood type, looked at my eyes for radiology, looked in my ear, examined my throat because I had that constant sore throat. And he looked at me and he said, you are allergic to milk, yeast, wheat, and sugar. Stay away from them. Now, even at the age of 6, I knew that were the ingredients. Those were the ingredients in my favorite chocolate bar, Coffee Crisp. If you're from Canada, you know Coffee Crisp. It's, to this day, I can still remember what it tastes like, and it tastes like what it sounds. It's crunchy, it's chocolatey, it's coffee flavored. Who wouldn't love that? And I said to him, well, when can I eat a Coffee Crisp? And he said, once every blue moon. And at the time, I thought a blue moon was every month, so I got excited. But I soon found out it meant once in a very long while. We came home and my mom tore through the kitchen, got rid of all the processed food, all the wheat, all the dairy, all the sugar. And we ate basically paleo, like what Dr. DeAdamo coined the O blood type diet. And overnight, my sore throat went away. My energy, I couldn't even say it came back. I had it for the first time. And I no longer woke up feeling sick. I no longer woke up with sore throats. I no longer woke up with sleep in my eyes. I would wake up, jump out of bed, and just go, 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 go,
Right.
just 12 hours straight, and then go right to sleep. And I had amazing health. But that was from 6 to 13. At 13, I rebelled and I started eating like all my friends. My mom was really strict around food, and out of love, but also coming from fear. And just as a parent now, I see like how important it is to teach children why that food is good or bad, and not just restrict without knowledge. So I ran towards the all the food I wasn't allowed to eat, and I gave myself chronic infections, type 2 diabetes, chronic adrenal fatigue, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Did I mention type 2 diabetes and infertility? By the time I was 19, I was infertile, and the doctor said, after doing a battery of tests, that I'd never have kids. So I was so sick. From 13 to 19, I created all these illnesses in my body, and I was just feeling so horrible.
Were you seeing Dr. DeAdamo then?
No, my mom switched back to an MD, and that MD ended up killing my mom. And that was a big wake up call for me. I don't know why she didn't. He ended up, I guess he got so famous, he ended up not being in the Toronto clinic. And so she started seeing another naturopath in that clinic and maybe didn't like that guy as much. But I really wish she had stuck with holistic medicine, because she'd still be here today. And my life would have been very different. I wouldn't be sitting here with you. But this is my story, right? So we can all hindsight, we can all learn from our past, but we have to learn from our past and also appreciate our story so that we can appreciate who we are, where we are now, and then build the future we want. So let's learn from the past. Processed foods is how I developed those illnesses, and eating clean, and then lifestyle changes, and finding the right supplements. So supplements are like the mortar, but the bricks, you can't out supplement a bad diet. You can't out exercise a bad diet, right? You can't give yourself enough colon hydrotherapy when you have a bad diet. It all comes down to using your food as medicine. You're building your body. You're building every cell in your body with what you're eating. So I had to dial in how I ate, but I had to go through emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically the transformation to be able to shed those illnesses. And I did. I learned what I needed to do. But there were many dark years where I would cry myself to sleep, where I was constantly hungry, just going on the blood sugar swings, feeling out of control. And my liver was so inflamed that anytime I did go on a diet, my liver would just stick out. It would be painful.
Oh, wow. I was
And
like that at one time. I didn't know what was going on, but yeah.
yeah, so I finally figured out that it was heavy metal toxicity. Probably because my body had a really hard time detoxifying. I have MTHFR, and so I had to really support gentle liver detox, support my liver, and in doing that. But every time I went to lose weight, I could taste heavy metals in my mouth. And that was, and my eyes would burn. I could taste heavy metals, and it was
metal.
like,
did you have mercury fillings or?
No. I just, I think it's from accumulation of, like secondhand smoke and eating,
Probably the water system.
just drinking soda. I don't know, just any kind of exposure to heavy metals. We have so much exposure to heavy metals we don't even realize. But if you also have a problem with detoxifying, then they get accumulated in the body. And so I had accumulated a lot. And I've spent the last 7 years working on detoxifying the heavy metals. I have a sunlight and sauna, which I absolutely adore. Yeah. And that we can sweat out the heavy metals gently. I have a PES, which is an ionic foot spa, a platinum energy system. And those two, actually, I've had people on my show, Learn True Health podcast, discussing how they work. So very gentle detox without having to do like chelators. Right. But I do also love chlorella, which there's only a handful of companies. I'd recommend one of them is Energy Bits. And I did have Catherine Arnston, the creator of Energy Bits, on my show as well. So those are really good episodes to check out. And so just through these different modalities, I was able to detox the heavy metals. But before that, back in 2008, when I was at the peak of my illness, my husband and I watched a documentary, and he wanted to help me, but like we just didn't know, right? Like you get to this point where you're sick of being sick, but all you know is MD medicine. All you know is go to the doctor, they maybe do blood work, and then they give you a drug, and that just wasn't cutting it. Like I was just getting sicker and sicker under the watch of the MD. And I'd remembered, when I was 6, I went to a naturopath. That's holistic medicine, right? Like, maybe that'll work. And I had to go back before my rebellious era and remember what I'd learned when I was very young from the naturopath. And when we watched this documentary, it was about eating whole foods, avoiding processed foods, eating organic. They had interviewed the original CEO of Whole Foods, and he said, vote with your fork, shop the perimeter of the grocery store, eat organic.
Yeah.
And we did that. We didn't give up dairy yet. We didn't give up meat yet. We just shopped the perimeter. So we stopped going down the aisles, and we chose only organic. So some would call that like the pseudo paleo diet, right? You're just eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. We were doing meat and dairy, but we chose organic. And in that 1 month of primarily cutting up processed food and eating organic, my chronic infections went away. I still felt like crap, but I no longer needed constant antibiotics. And I thought, wow, we did one change, and one of my major problems went away. So what's the next step? And we just took these baby steps where we did one change, kind of like a challenge, right? Like, okay, for the next few days, we're going to do, or for the next week or next month, we're going to do this. And we did one challenge after another. And some things didn't work and some things did, but that's how we figured out. And we eventually cut out all dairy, because I'm like, you know what? And the thing is, dairy is the hardest because we're actually chemically addicted to dairy. For many people know this, but for those who don't, breast milk, so mother's milk, right? Cow milk for a calf, goat milk for a goat, for a kid. In order to make the infant want to drink it, right? How, like, put forth the effort to find the nipple and suckle. God, in his infinite wisdom, made breast milk addictive. And then we take milk from another species, we concentrate it into cheese. The thing that triggers the brain, the addiction in the brain, is in cheese in concentrated form. So we are addicted to dairy, and that's the hardest thing out of all the animal products to kick is cheese and dairy. So we decided to go dairy free reluctantly. And overnight, my husband's adult acne went away. It was like within 3 days. He had cystic acne, covered his entire back. It was really gross. It was constantly exploding and painful. And he was ashamed and never went shirtless because of it. And he had pitting all over his back, and he had pitting, in his face, but it was mostly in his back and in his chest too. 100% of his acne within 3 days of removing dairy went away. He had never in his entire life not drank dairy or eaten cheese. That's a little challenge,
we had 2 dairy cows, and we always, of course, had raw milk, and of course there was Hershey's chocolate, which was advertised heavily on the TV. And I love my milk with my Hershey's chocolate. So you got pus with sugar, and I had acne, I had allergies, I had all this stuff, and no wonder I had all these allergies, no wonder I had all these problems.
Right.
Plus, I had my mother took me to what I call a drill, fill, and build dentist. Every time I went to from age 5 on. He's got 2 more cavities, Mrs. DeHaas.
Oh, you mean you have a boat payment, Mr. Dentist?
Yeah. And here, have a lollipop on the way out. Some more sugar.
Right.
And it's you're right. Food is, and it's even worse today. I grew up
bad
in the 60s.
Yeah.
Now
it's really bad.
Pure chemicals, just pure chemicals.
We go down the cereal aisle. So my mom was super strict about cereal in our household. There couldn't be any sugar in it. And we had options. Like, there was a lot of options for zero added sugar. I challenge you to find a 0 added sugar cereal. I can only find one. Like, that's gluten-free also, because we don't eat barley, wheat, rye, or oats in our home. My son is actually allergic to them, but that's what Dr. D'Adamo told me. Don't eat those. And what I've seen with my mentors, I've been trained by several naturopathic doctors, and they say 100% of their clients benefit from removing those grains. And that's because we're not cows. We don't have the stomach processing power to process. And just like eating dairy, like eating cheese is not necessarily healthy for you, but we feel good eating it because we're addicted. So we keep doing it, and we're habituated to the damage. You have to remove it for a while before you go, oh, wow, my migraines are gone. Oh, wow, my stiff joints are gone. Oh, wow, my vision's getting better. Like, you start to see things clear up, the inflammation go away, and things you thought were completely unrelated, like, oh, my dry eye is gone, completely unrelated, but that's a sign of inflammation. And you remove that food that is constantly insulting the body.
When you went to Peter, did you, D'Adamo, did he offered colonics? Did he offer them to you as a child?
No, I was a child. No, he didn't offer. I really actually was interested in it. What my mom would tell me stories, because she'd come home from her colonic, and I'd be super interested. I was actually interested in holistic health since I was 6. My mom had a newsletter from Dr. D'Adamo, and I would sit on my mom's bed and she would read it to me. And I remember in the 80s, she read me an article he wrote about probiotics. And I was fascinated, as acidophilus was like the only thing they knew about back then. But I was super fascinated. And she read another one about antioxidants and oxidative stress, and how it was, I imagine the bullet bouncing through the body, like the loose molecule bouncing through the body, just like harming the DNA. And he wrote this beautiful article about it. And I just was fascinated. I was fascinated about how the body works and health from that holistic standpoint.
Yeah. Think about this. In 1992, Newsweek, on its cover, I was selling nutritional supplements, and they were just starting to talk about free radicals. And people would say, oh, DeHaas, you're just a free radical yourself. That's a rock band, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they just dismissed it like, that's stupid. What are you talking about? Free radicals, and what's an oxidant? And of course, now it's common knowledge about, most people do know what an antioxidant is, but very interesting how in 40 years, 30 years, basically, we finally got to accepting this, but yeah.
The mainstream will catch up very slowly. So if you're hearing
you have the
something,
medical community basically slamming it, saying, "Oh, there's nothing to that. You don't want those vitamins. That's just a waste. You're just peeing out your." It was crazy.
well, the same doctors only a few years before were recommending, Camel cigarettes. So we just
That's
have to
right.
remember how far we've come since our grandparents or since our parents' generation. Like
Right.
the American Medical Association was fine with recommending Camel cigarettes. So just gotta take their advice with a grain of salt and then question everything. Question everything. One thing that Dr. Diadamo did in his colonics that I haven't seen done anywhere else is he added a cactus enzyme that would
Really?
break down the biofilm. And I was always fascinated about that. And I haven't seen anyone else do that. So my mom told me, I'd ask her, what did they add to the water? One of her friends was from Japan and they watched a giant, because there's a little viewing
Right.
window to see what's coming out of you. And they watched a giant worms come out of her, I guess from eating sushi or something.
Oh, we see it all the time. Yes, it's all the time. All the time.
Wild.
Ropeworms, hookworms, liver flukes. We got a whole manual down here, book of pictures of clients have snapped the picture when they're doing their colonic as they've seen the bugs, or at home in the toilet. A lot of time it comes out. We loosen them up and they go home and they poop.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It's
fascinating.
fascinating.
And yet you go to a test. If you go to a doctor and get a test, 98% of the time it's going to be negative because they only test for 5. And look at the bugs don't want to come out on a poop and say, "Hey, here I am." They bury themselves in the mucosal lining and they're attached. And you gotta go after them with all things: zappers, herbs, our pulse frequency machine, and then the colonics to flush them out.
I wonder why they don't show up on colonic or colonoscopies, or do they?
No, I've never done a colonoscopy.
Right, and nor should you.
Yeah, there's some risk there.
There's a lot of people that die doing just regular colonoscopies. You turn that camera the wrong way, they're piercing your colon. So. And also the anesthesia, you could die from the anesthesia. There's complications.
So, okay. So you went on, you're on your healing path.
Yes.
Of course, you said you're taking antibiotics constantly. Oh, that's so bad for the gut.
Right. Yeah. No, it is. It's actually Dr. Joel Furman has a really good book. I had him on my show and he talked about this one fact that's in his book. I'm going to remember the name of it. It's fast food genocide. Okay. And he talks about, and it's like within the first few chapters of the book, he talks about, the cancer rates go up with every dose of antibiotics.
Yeah, we had a doctor in here, went through our 10-day healing retreat. 10 straight years, antibiotics. She can only drink, what I'm drinking today during this interview, cucumber juice. That's the only thing that she...
Nice.
They can't see
it. It looks great.
It tastes great too. But that's all she could eat. When she got done with the 10-day healing retreat, she could actually eat. She says, "David, I ate a steak last night. It tasted so good." She says, "I've eaten some amazing other foods." Yeah, no, she was doing colonics, a lot of colonics. In fact, when she moved to Boise, she told her husband, "I'll only move to a city that's got a good colon hydrotherapist." So they scouted out cities. They scouted us out first.
That's fun.
But no, how sad. I mean, so many people have been like that, like you. They've been on constant antibiotics. And my dad recently, I mean, she had a kidney infection, like kidney stone last year, and he had a stroke and he had some things going on. And they just started giving him antibiotics.
No.
I said, and of course I'm not there. I'm 5 hours away. And of course now he's pooping, he's got diarrhea all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I finally just got that changed around. Now we've got a constipation issue.
No. Oh my gosh.
But he was shitting his pants. I mean, he was just, "David, I'm crapping my pants all the time." He's just,
I know. Yeah.
So upset. And he's got, he's afraid to go out in public. So he doesn't, and hasn't been to, out in public for a while, and about 6 months. And because of that, but he said, "Hey, I was able to fart today and I didn't poop my pants."
Oh my gosh.
Good win, Dad.
So I have a family member who was on several courses of antibiotics and then got chronic diarrhea to the point where she also couldn't go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the times that we had to take her to a doctor's appointment or something, it was like running down her leg. It was so sad. And you lose all your dignity. It's just so sad.
Know.
And I had done an interview about Lactobacillus rhodori.
Right. Listen to that. Very good interview.
Yes, with Dr. William Davis.
Right.
Who wrote the book Wheat Belly. I've had him on my show 3 times. It was the second interview I did. And at the times I was recovering from PTSD from losing my daughter. And I was just, I figured out through the help of a friend who was a psychologist that what I was experiencing was PTSD. And so I'm interviewing him and he's talking about how Lactobacillus rhodori is native to humans. It should be in your gut, but it is not in your gut in the modern world because one course of antibiotics wipes it completely from your system for the rest of your life.
Isn't that crazy?
So, it gets passed down through mother's milk. So if your mother was on one course of antibiotics before you, let's say you've never had antibiotics, but your mom had antibiotics, then you don't have Lactobacillus rhodori. So just think about
the generational dysfunction.
How many people who are living in the modern world, right, who are not like living in Nepal in the mountains, right? Like they've never had antibiotics, but I don't think we could find someone whose generations, you could count all the generations going up who's not had antibiotics. So it's very rare to have Lactobacillus rhodori naturally in your system, but it should be there. Not having it means that we naturally don't make as much serotonin for the whole body. Serotonin converts to melatonin. It's also melatonin's an antioxidant for all the cells, not just the brain.
Right.
And that's just one of the effects. It also increases collagen production. So now we have less collagen production. So there's just like, it goes down the list. So if you take it, and how you take it is you make a yogurt out of it. I figured out, I have made over 200 batches of this yogurt with cashews. I figured out cashews if you're allergic to cashews, you can try it with other, like, it does not taste good. I'm sorry. The coconut version, the soy version doesn't taste good. The cashew version tastes amazing. It tastes awesome. And it's a 36-hour ferment, and I have it. It's free on my website. Just Lactobacillus rhodori yogurt, cashew yogurt on learntohealth.com. I made it for this family member, and 3 days later, she called me up and she said, "Make me more because this is the only thing that stopped my diarrhea." It ended her diarrhea. So I went and did a little bit more digging, and I found out that you get obviously we know you get your good microbiome gets wiped out when you do antibiotics. Well, one of the causes of antibiotics, or one of the side effects, is that chronic diarrhea, and one of the solutions is Lactobacillus rhodori. So we reintroduce the Lactobacillus rhodori into the gut, and it calms everything down. It gets the gut making serotonin again, gets the gut making collagen again. Like, it's helping so much. So it ended the diarrhea for her. But then it had, for me, surprise, surprise, it helped me overcome the depression. And I noticed that within the same day I took it. The first one I made was out of soy milk, because I had a hermetically sealed soy milk. So I just fermented that. It tasted horrible, but I drank it. And it was like, and I've never taken an antidepressant, but I told my friend who's a mental health counselor after 3 days of drinking, I go, if antidepressants worked, I feel like I'm on one right now. Like I'm feeling happy for the first time in over a year. Like I was just feeling happy in my body. So there's something to that Lactobacillus rhodori. And it's just one of the thousands of healthy gut microbes that we're supposed to have in our gut. So, there's so much to supporting the gut.
There is. Well, you think about the colon, 5 to 7 feet, small intestine, about 25 to 30 feet, the surface area the size of a tennis court. There's so much surface area and all these little bugs, good bugs, bad bugs. And, it gets tipped out of balance so easily you go to one doctor, it's just, you got a little infection. Oh, here's an antibiotic. And next thing you know, you've taken 6 rounds. And in some cases, people get C. diff and they actually die from C. diff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now there's actually companies paying you for good poop, and now they're making tablets. When I first got in this business, I met a doctor and he was so excited about what I was doing. True story. I've talked about this before on the show. His dad was dying in the hospital in California, and he worked at the hospital here in Boise. And his dad had C. diff, And his dad says, just get me home, Mark, just get me home. I just want to die at home. And so he was doing some research and he discovered if I could put an implant back in his colon intestinal tract, maybe that'd make a difference. And so he went to the hospital and he made his proposal. He says, let's do a fecal implant. And there's one doctor there from Europe that says, hey, no problem. I'd be happy to do it. We do that in Europe all the time. And the doctor there says, no, it's too much risk, infection, blah, blah, blah. He says, darn it. So he went home and he got a very healthy person, his daughter. She pooped in a bag and he took it to California, put it in a blender, blended it up and put it down his dad's feeding tube. He says, David, it was like instantaneous, like bam. He was different guy. He says it was incredible. It's like you just saw a wilted plant in the dirt over it, and this thing just like pops up like a plant staring at the sun. He says it was that, and we went back home, and he says, he lived 6 or 7 more months, but he lived at home. He did die. He says, too bad I didn't get to it sooner. But then that was 2009 we hadn't been open very long, 2010 probably. And within about 2 years, I started seeing more and more on the internet. And now,
We take a quick break. You've been listening to my interview with Ashley James, fellow podcaster and health coach. There's a podcast of her own called Learn True Health, and she wrote a book called Addicted to Wellness, a great book on how to walk you through your healing journey. You can capture it over at Amazon. Just type in Addicted to Wellness. This is podcast 179. If you miss any parts of the show, you can pick it up over the podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com. And if you're ready to truly get your health back on track, check out our 10-day healing retreat over at livingwaterscleanse.com. Be sure to check out the success stories, hundreds and hundreds of videos over there of people just like you who got tired of the aches and pains and the brain fog and the constipation. Watch the video, The 4 Natural Laws of Healing, and if that resonates with you, give the office a call at 208-3789-911. We'll be right back.
Once in a lifetime, a healing tool comes across your path that can really change the ability for the body to heal naturally and quickly. We have found such a tool, and it has changed the way my family lives and how our clients at Living Waters are helping to heal their body. It's called phototherapy, and phototherapy is the ability of your body using waves of light to turn on your body's ability to make its own stem cells. No surgeries, just simply a little Band-Aid sized patch that can activate your body to make stem cells. As you age, you're producing less and less stem cells. And by age 60, you're making none. So when it comes to healing and repairing, it is a long, long process. We can now speed that process up by using phototherapy. Go over to stemcellpatch.net and watch the videos there. And go ahead and try these patches for a few months. These patches have helped so many of our clients reverse pain, help speed up the healing, sleep better, and on and on. You'll see some of the testimonials over there. It's an amazing little tool that you should be using right now. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, you can now be increasing your body's ability to make its stem cells on its own. Stemcellpatch.net or call the office at 208-3789-911. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains that have been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month. And since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 20, 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience. They may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.
Welcome back to the show. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, and I'm interviewing our special guest, Ashley James, who wrote the book Addicted to Wellness, a great little book to take you on your wellness journey. And by the way, if you're ready to get your body detoxed so that you can live your best life, get rid of those aches and pains, constipation, that brain fog, check out our healing retreat over at the website, livingwaterscleanse.com, or you can simply call the office at 208-3789-911. If you missed any parts of the show, it's on the podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com, episode 179. And now back to the show. Buy poop pills. Now, there's actually people, I saw an advertise on, I think, Instagram one day. Hey, we'll pay you for your poop if it's good enough.
Right.
They need
Yes.
good poop donors.
Yeah, I interviewed Sarika Cernhouse on my show many years ago. I've been doing this show for 9 years, so this is probably like 6, 7, 8 years ago. And Sarika's wonderful. She's still practicing. So she is down in Arizona, I think Flagstaff, and she was so sick, couldn't eat any food. You know, just like you hear it time and time again, like just have to do the elimination diet, then they can't eat anything. And she learned about how important the microbiome is. So she started to eat tiny, tiny, tiny doses, micro dosing different live culture fermented foods and a variety. Variety is the key.
I've been saying that, preaching that for the last couple of years, you know, on the talk radio show we're on here, KIDO Talk Radio. You watch all the crazy, you know, liberals, Republicans, well, all of them. I mean, there's so much stupid being said everywhere. And I've been saying it's our food. We got glyphosate that's killed our soils. We had Jim Zamzo on not too long ago talking about how we recover soils, and because they destroyed the microbiome in the soils. But no, you see what's coming out of people's mouths. They can't think. I remember we covered a gal. Speaking of that, to your point, she dropped out of college. She had a hard time, you know, studying, retaining memory. We'd have to make notes for her. Happiest gal ever. We'd make a nice list. She would do great work, smile, happy, glad to be here. And she was going off, she's an LDS member, and she was going to go on a mission. And I told my wife, I says, this gal is sick, not sick. We're not sitting and let her go away until we do a 10-day cleanse for her. So we gave her a 10-day cleanse. I remember day 8, she had to speak at her church. And she was really nervous. She hated this. She did not want to speak in front. She was so nervous. She came back. I said, hey, how did your speech go? She goes, it went amazing. She goes, David, people come up to me. They said, like, whoa, where'd you learn to speak like that? You're better than any of the missionaries come back, and yada, yada, yada. And she goes, David, I can think.
Yes.
So she cleaned out her body, got her colon and small intestine healed, and started restoring, got that transverse colon. That's where 90% of your serotonin gets made. And she, different person. I love it all the time.
I love it. Yeah. So we can rebuild our gut, eat small amounts of fermented foods. I have a whole chapter in my book on rebuilding the gut. And have
you shipped me some of your salsa and your ferment. So are you shipping now?
You know, it's easier for you to make it in your own kitchen because you can regulate like how much how much of each, if you want it to be spicier, like, or not.
Right.
But it's super easy to make. It's crazy easy. It's actually, it's the hardest part about fermenting is mentally getting over the fact that you're leaving things out of the fridge. Like you are not hurting yourself. Like the salt slows down any bad microbes, but the good microbes thrive. And
do you get a little yogurt maker and use that, or
no. So, are you talking about the cashew, the Lactobacillus rhodori yogurt? Yeah. So there's a type of Instant Pot that not all Instant Pot models. There's one Instant Pot model where you can manually adjust the temperature because it has to be under 109, ideally between 100 and 108 Fahrenheit. So I set mine to about 102, 103. I have a yogurt thermometer and I check the batch.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to like up the temperature, down the temperature. You don't want it to hit over 109 because then it kills the Lactobacillus rhodori.
Okay.
But yeah, so you just want it to be over. If it's 100, good. If it's 107, good. Like so, that's just that range. But it has to ferment for 36 hours. In the last hour of ferment, the population doubles. That's why it's like that's the at 36 hours. Don't stop at 35. You got to be 36. So I actually find it's easier to do it because I do these really large batches, and then it lasts for several weeks. For the whole family, right? And so it's delicious. And then as far as like making the salsa, you just put it in, you put the contents in a mason jar, put like a mesh over the lid and leave it for 3 days. And it is the most delicious thing you've ever tasted. And it's full of wonderful gut microbes.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We had a lady on our show, Clearwater Cultures. Met her at a show. She's actually lives in Idaho County, where I grew up, and she makes soaps and different things. And I went to her house where her little manufacturing facility is, and she's got all these different big old pots fermenting, all these different things.
Yeah,
all the different products you can buy from her. We
Nice.
interviewed her way back. It's been a couple of years, 3 years ago, I think. Clearwater Cultures, will shout out to her. And I mean, but again, and it came to her divine intervention about, we need to keep our microbiome on our skin as well. We think about our gut.
yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's fascinating. And that's in your book, Addicted to Wellness.
Yes.
You gotta
Yes.
get it, guys. LearnTrueHealth.com.
Yep. LearnTrueHealth.com/addicted to wellness.
Addicted to
If they go to
wellness.
my website, also LearnTrueHealth.com, they'll see a little link to buy, like to go get the book.
Right.
Yeah.
They buy it directly from you rather than giving money to Jeff. Well, I guess
Actually, it does. It directs straight to Amazon because I publish through Amazon,
Okay.
which just makes it super easy for me.
Right.
And
Don't have to do much inventory.
I like that we can these days use like Amazon KDP, which is how you self-publish through Amazon.
Yeah.
It makes it really easy to allow anyone to publish a book, and then
Right.
we get this information out there. So
It's sad. We've got all the information at our fingertips today. I mean, we got so much. We have these
Yeah.
smartphones, so much information. I mean, I go to bed at night. I'm trying to keep my eyes open and my ears open. I fall asleep listening to podcasts and educational information. I'm just an information junkie, but it's just so sad where, most people are not to learn. I mean, everything I've learned, I've self-learned throughout my life.
yes, yeah,
And back in the day, before fax machines, you actually went to a library.
right.
But no, there's just it is. We've got
We
we're so
we have
gifted,
information overload, but
We
the
just have to
problem is
narrow focused.
it's focus, but also the problem is knowing what direction. Because for example, one of the things I do is I show people how to reverse diabetes and no longer have insulin resistance. So I can guide you to no longer have type 2 diabetes, and within 3 to 4 months you will not be diabetic on your blood work. You'll feel like $1 million. You'll feel amazing. But then it takes about a year to completely correct the insulin resistance so that you now have insulin sensitivity, and you can eat whatever carbs you want. You can eat bananas all day long. You can eat potatoes all day long. Your blood sugar will be amazing. You'll feel like $1 million. And then you have someone, you listen to my podcast. I show you how to do that. And then you go listen to someone else's podcast who tells you to be a carnivore and eat nothing but meat. Do the meat diet, poop once a week. Carnivore diet is where it's at. The only way to reverse diabetes is to not eat carbs, right? So you get completely opposite information. And that's the problem, is that there's conflicting information for every single thing out there. So health is confusing. I believe there's also a concerted effort on the pharmaceutical front to confuse people.
Oh, big time.
Because if we knew how to heal our bodies, we wouldn't need them most of the time, right?
No.
So what you want to do, my biggest advice is question everything. No matter how good someone sounds, no matter how good I sound, question everything. Be the most open-minded skeptic you can be. If it sounds weird and you don't throw it away, listen to it. I dive into the information, dive into the studies, and then find the opposite doctor. The doctor saying the opposite, dive into their studies. It's wonderful to really look and think for yourself and keep that open mind. It's okay to look at the opposing information. Just like I wish Republicans looked at the Democratic information, Democrat looked at the Republican information with an open mind. Like, we should all come together as humans wanting to build a better world, not just like, well, I'm right because my mom told me I should be a Democrat, therefore I'm always, it's just like, it's just religion. People are buying into dogma without allowing themselves to learn. So open your mind. Right. Take in new information, and then be willing to try and experiment. That's the thing. I experimented with I did over 30 diets. I experimented on my body, and I noticed the result. And I can tell you that meat-based, that carnivore diet looks really enchanting, and it's so foul. It's just
that's
just
a lot of
yeah. And I know a few people who now can only eat meat because of how they've eliminated everything, and now they're stuck. They don't have the microbiome to handle themselves. Like, they've got parasites and they're stuck and they don't know how to get out. And that's the problem, is a lot of people get stuck in when you go down that rabbit hole of elimination,
right.
and they don't know how to come out the other side and heal themselves. So best thing to do is to take in different sources of information, and then be willing to experiment, write down your results, and then try the different thing, right? So in my book, I give challenges every week for 13 weeks. There are 1 to 4 challenges that you can try. And then you write down, and every day, morning and night, it still takes like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. You write down your results. It's guided questions. So you take on the challenge, and each challenge builds. So there's 32, 33 health challenges. Each one builds a foundation of health.
Right.
And you try it and you experience it for yourself, and you write down your results, and you watch over 7 days as your body transforms with that health challenge. And then you could choose to continue doing that health challenge, or you could say, hey, this isn't for me. But each one, it will transform you. So my one, for example, is proper hydration. And everyone kind of just like glazes over when you start talking about drinking water, because it's free, because everyone thinks they are drinking enough water.
Right.
But most Americans are chronically dehydrated, and most of the symptoms of chronic dehydration are people are taking either over-the-counter drugs for, or being prescribed drugs for. And so I give a hydration challenge, and in that 7 days, your body will finally, every cell in your body will be fully hydrated by the end of the 7 days. You will see miracles happen. And one of them is 25% increase in cellular energy production. So if you go to stimulants, coffee, sugar for energy at any point in your day, you likely are dehydrated. So do that one challenge in my book, and notice that you will have a 25% increase in energy production.
My wife says to me, I'll say I'm a little tired. She says, yes, you need your amino acids and some water. Stat. And I go take it. It's like, oh yeah, my brain's awake now. Okay. All right. Let's go. One of the things we do here, Ashley, which we teach people how to muscle test. So people call me, they always call me, hey, Dave, such and such is going on. I says, yeah. And remember, muscle test. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's power. I tell people the first day, really, this is like, you can walk away now and you can start figuring things out just by, if you embrace this. But I love having the book. You start out, good morning. Today, I'm grateful for. You have a gratitude. Gratitude's so important. That our cleanse as well. And then your goal intentions. So you have this journal, because what we all do is we forget. I don't know if you in the book. Yeah, we'll put
this is the page every morning during a challenge, and every night during a challenge.
What choices did not serve me? What challenged me the most? Good choices I made. You rank yourself, good, better, best. What you had for lunch and dinner. We forget. We get going. And we forget, and I love it. Change your thoughts, change your world. And this is not an overwhelming book, folks. This is really nice. I love the font size.
Yes, I made it so you don't have to put on your readers.
I love it, especially since, I don't like straining my eyes.
Yep.
And it's very simple. And you get into just going through week 2, week 3, week 4, just a couple steps forward. You probably, if you miss a week, so what? Just pick back up.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it at your own pace.
Great explanation about high antioxidant foods. You did a really nice job of laying this book out.
Thank you.
And other, sweeteners. What's other choices you could use for sweeteners? Because we all like to have a little sweet taste, right?
Yeah. So every week we're choosing a different challenge, and you're talking about the week where we challenge ourselves to either go completely sugar-free or switch to healthier sweeteners.
Right.
As one of the 4 challenges in that week.
Yeah.
And that's like, not every week is a physical thing.
Right.
Like, we have weeks that are about mental health, emotional health, in some cases, spiritual health. So there's physical health challenges, but then there's also mental, emotional health challenges as well.
Yeah. And you've got back here, it restored home hydrotherapy. You've got the power showers, the cold contrasting showers. So you got a little bit for everyone. I mean, I would say to listeners, you're probably not going to want, you probably won't do everything, and some things resonate, some things won't.
Exactly.
But in this health journey, we didn't come with a manual when we were born, unfortunately.
Right.
We needed a manual.
Yeah.
And so this is a good way to start on that track. And of course, listen to podcasts like what Ashley and I do is a great way to quickly and easily. I mean, I think back in the 90s, if I would have had just a few of the podcasts are out there.
Right.
I know I spent so much money. I probably spent 200 grand plus all the money I lost just because I was sick. Every Friday I would go away and go see my guru and go to the hot springs and then come. Friday was just toast, non-productive. Not to mention how tired I was. I remember Hal Huggins looked at me when I was to do my dentistry, and he says, "I don't understand why you're even awake, David. Your blood chemistry says you shouldn't be awake."
That was me too. That was me too. I had a holistic functional doctor in 2009.
Yeah.
Did my cortisol levels. They always spit in the tubes all day long. And she had been in the Olympics twice. And her and I are still friends. She's in her 80s and she like runs marathons in the desert in Las Vegas. Like, she's amazing. I love her. And she looked, that is normal, right? Being able to run marathons in the desert is normal in your 80s. And that's what we all should be aiming for.
Right.
But she looked at my cortisol levels and she said, your highest cortisol during the day is everyone else's cortisol when they're sleeping. And the only time I've ever seen cortisol this low was right after I did the Olympics. But she bounced back. Yeah. That was my normal. Wow. And so she was one of my guides to help me get back on track. And she actually gave up her medical license when she realized that being a doctor was a drug dealer, and she wanted to be a functional doctor. So she decided to give up her license so that she could practice functional medicine.
Yeah, they're addicted to standard of care.
Right, exactly. So yeah, sure. And her husband is a chiropractor, and they run a clinic together, and they're wonderful. Shout out to Dr. Jenny Ross Wilkinson. She's awesome. Wow. And yeah, she showed me that my normal energy levels were everyone's energy levels when they were sleeping. I also couldn't process human language in the morning. I was so depleted, so exhausted. My husband talked to me and I couldn't actually, it was like, wah, 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 wah. I couldn't understand what he was saying. Wow. So that was right around the time that we were doing that challenge where we went organic. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until I met a Dr. Wallach and he showed me minerals. Right. And then I woke up within 5 days of taking, the essential nutrients my body was missing, and also cutting out, he has 12 foods that he had me remove, which are cause oxidative stress to the body, and also block proper digestion and absorption. And then he got me on the right minerals. So just cleaned up how I was eating, guided me that way. And then everything came back online. And that's when I decided to turn around. This was about 2011. I turned around and said, I want to do this as my career. I want to help people get better. And yeah, so it's been wonderful. So before 2011, I was doing neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy with people, doing coaching, largely helping people to end chronic pain and also end anxiety. I have a technique where I I teach people how to completely turn off anxiety by getting to the root cause in 90 seconds. And then so for many years I was helping people on the emotional, mental level, but I didn't have the tools for physical. Right. So that's the book. The book is everything that I learned, that it builds the foundations of your health, and done in a way that's so fun. No matter how busy you are, you can plug into this book 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever you have, and you will be able to build your health as a result.
Right. And you can't complete a journey if you don't start taking a step, guys. And you've only got one body, one time on earth to make this journey. How well do you want to live?
Yeah.
Live your best life. And this is a great tool to put in your wellness toolbox, as we call it, is having a little guide here to guide you through this with some great suggestions about hydration and everything. I mean, it's very complete. But this thing about, keeping yourself accountable, because we all forget, we get busy, we get stressed.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're grabbing a soda or a beer and sucking down some glyphosate
Right.
or whatever because you get stressed. And well, what if there was a tool? What if you had a tool in your toolbox you could pull out to counteract that? And we're all going to mess up, but I did
Right.
many, many times.
Remembering also, because you track your symptoms in this book easily, we do it's fun and easy way of doing it. You'll see your progress every month. We do a monthly check-in and you actually see your progress. I have had 2 clients on separate occasions both forget that they had chronic migraines, because once I helped them get healthy again, they just was like, they forgot. That's why they came to me in the first place. And then I asked them, both 2 different people on separate occasions. I said, how are your migraines? And they said, what migraines? Like, they completely forgot 6 months after I got them their migraines gone.
Right.
By them following, the
I've
steps
seen that
for, yeah. So we forget sometimes.
I've interviewed people after the 10-day and I says, well, what did you experience? They go through all these things. I says, wasn't there something else? Was there something else? And this one gal, I remember the reason why she came to me, she couldn't squeeze her hands. I says, remember this? And I'm squeezing my hands. She goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That was really big.
Wow.
That's what she
can't write, can't drive.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
Couldn't open doors, couldn't put on clothing. But then she forgot because it came back, right? So this is what happens. So the part of the book is like checking in and being like, oh, for example, this water challenge really is working because, wow, now I'm pooping 3 times a day, or now my headaches are gone, or now my stiff joints are gone. Now I have more energy. Like, I can see, you look back. Can you remember what you felt like 7 days ago? No. Can you remember what you ate 2 days ago? No. Like, we don't necessarily remember how we felt. So when we make health changes, a lot of times where it's like throwing arrows in the dark, and we forget to keep doing the healthy thing, keep doing the new habit, because we forget how good it made us feel and how it's helping our body be healthy. Right. So that's why the book is so important, to help you track that, so you can check back and go, oh, I really should keep doing this new health habit because it is making such a profound difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Addicted to Wellness.
Yes.
The Healthy Addiction 12-week workbook for creating a lifelong love of well-being. And guys, once you go 2 or 3 steps forward, half a step back, no big deal. Just keep trudging forward.
Yep.
Have yourself a way to kind of keep yourself accountable, learn something new every day. And let's get those bodies detoxed and back to wellness. Ashley, thanks for being on the show. Is there anything you want to add?
Oh, I love being here. I also think listeners should check out the interview that you had on my show, which was amazing, and I loved it. So listeners can go to learntruehealth.com, use the search function. Anything you want to search. I've close to, I think I just published 520. So so we've got lots of interviews with amazing experts. 200
and something thing.
Just keep going. Just keep chugging along. I had a mentor who had over 1,000. When I started, had over 1,000. So I was like, 1,000 is a good number to aim for. I'm halfway there.
I can't believe how many I've done. It seems like yesterday I started.
Right.
Now, each week it's always a scramble. I don't interview everybody every week like you do. I go solo a lot. And so it's always coming up. I've heard myself speak and say this stuff over and over and over and over. So you're sitting here alone in the studio talking to yourself and always trying to keep something fresh and new. I always stay up on it. But a lot of good episodes over there for sure. Yeah.
I would, even I think since you have clients in your clinic, even if they could come up with questions for you to answer, that would be great content.
Right.
Like they can give you questions and then you could answer it in the podcast. Or you could even have them interview you and pick your brain live. That would be cool. Like, they don't necessarily have to be on video if they don't want to. They could be on the other side of the camera, asking you questions, and then you basically go live in a little classroom, because everyone would be different. Then you don't have to pre-plan. I know I would be curious to hear how you answer things, right? If it's coming from a client who's sitting there. The best interviewer is someone who's genuinely curious.
Right.
And that has been my gift, apart from God's divine guidance. When I interview people, I'm just genuinely interested, because I was sick and suffering, and I got my health better. And I'm always looking to learn and help myself. But then also the purpose of my show, as is the purpose of your show, is to reach as many people as possible and to help them learn what it is to achieve true health. And that's why I named my podcast Learn True Health, because it is about this journey of learning what it is to achieve true health and how to get there, and how to build your true health. And that's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And as a fun side note, I had a client who, he says he was born with the gift of seeing angels and guides, and he's Catholic, and he says he would be in church and he would see angels in the church. I think it's phenomenal, and he has some amazing information. But when we started, I did a live interview with him, and I was in his office, and when I hit record, he goes like, "You're just surrounded by angels guiding you."
That's
He goes
awesome.
like, all of a sudden they just came, and I was like, you know what? So many times, like, people compliment me and being a good interview. I'm like, I don't even think like I'm there. I feel like I'm just a listener of my own show, and I feel like I'm a fan of my own show. But when I'm sitting there interviewing, I feel like I'm being guided with when it comes to asking questions. So the questions pull out the information, and the information is what we're here for, right? So you're a great interviewer and a great guest, and it was wonderful having you on my show, and it was wonderful being on your show. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well. So yeah, I always just say a prayer. Give me the right words. That's my prayer. Give me the right words, what I need to say, and then I just go.
Yes.
That's always
I love it.
pretty well. I do
I love it.
make the notes. I do now. I've started scripting more. Things, I'll be laying there at night and things will pop in my head and go, "Oh, that'd be a great one. That's some great questions," right? And then y'all remember that one. And then of course, I don't remember it.
You will not remember it.
I've got better at speaking on the phone, like, note, do. And we got
I don't actually prepare ahead of time for my interviews, because when I'm scripted or when I have a bunch of questions written down, I'm too much in my head. I get like just discombobulated. But when I'm present in the moment with a guest, I'm just super curious. I want to pull the information out of them. I want us to extract and learn as much as we can from that person. So I'm way more present to them. And then the questions come to me. And so many times my listeners say, you just asked the question that I was on my mind. You said exactly my question. I can't tell you how many times people have said that to me. And that's where the divine guidance comes in.
Oh, exactly.
Which is really exciting.
I just did an interview not too long ago, and I read the book and I read everything, and I wrote down all kinds of questions. And then of course I got in the interview, and then the questions were there, and we just started rolling.
Yeah.
I got done. I looked down and go, "Oh, I hit them all."
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the
Nice.
I wrote.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, what a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you so much. Ashley James, Addicted to Wellness. Get it at learntruehealth.com/addicted wellness, or go to Amazon and put it in the search terms. Get the book and start your journey towards wellness. Until next week, my friends, have a blessed week. We ran out of time, but you can catch the whole show, the whole interview, over at the podcast Whole Body Detox Show. Just type in wholebodydetoxshow.com or grab it wherever you get your podcasts at. This has been episode 179 with our guest Ashley James, who wrote the book Addicted to Wellness. I'll put everything in the show notes over at the podcast. If you're tired of being sick and tired, let's detox those tissues in your body and get rid of those issues in the tissues. Learn more about that over at the website livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, 4 Natural Laws of Healing. Watch that webinar. If that resonates with you, let's get your health back on track. Call the office at 208-3789-911. 208-3789-911. Until next week, have a blessed week, my friends.
Once in a lifetime, a healing tool comes across your path that can really change the ability for the body to heal naturally and quickly. We have found such a tool, and it has changed the way my family lives and how our clients at Living Waters are helping to heal their body. It's called phototherapy, and phototherapy is the ability of your body using waves of light to turn on your body's ability to make its own stem cells. No surgeries, just simply a little Band-Aid sized patch that can activate your body to make stem cells. As you age, you're producing less and less stem cells, and by age 60, you're making none. So when it comes to healing and repairing, it is a long, long process. We can now speed that process up by using phototherapy. Go over to stemcellpatch.net and watch the videos there. And go ahead and try these patches for a few months. These patches have helped so many of our clients reverse pain, help speed up the healing, sleep better, and on and on. You'll see some of the testimonials over there. It's an amazing little tool that you should be using right now. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, you can now be increasing your body's ability to make the stem cells on its own. Stemcellpatch.net or call the office at 208-3789-911. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains that have been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month. And since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 20, 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.